My ride or die, Bestie stole my life, literally. I let out a dry, humorless laugh, wiping my nose with the back of my hand. If you had told me a month ago that I would be sitting in a Dunkin Donuts bathroom at 2 a.m., shaking because I'm terrified to go home, I would have laughed in your face. I was the girl who had it all. The grades, the looks, the acceptance letter to NYU, the parents who, okay, were strict, but they loved me. And most importantly, I had her, Brianna. We met in the sandbox in kindergarten. We shared our first juice box, our first period trauma, our first heartbreak. We did that cheesy thing where we bought matching necklaces that said sisters before we even got our licenses. We promised each other we'd be maids of honor, godmothers to each other's kids. We were a package deal. If you saw me, she was 3 steps behind, rolling her eyes but carrying my purse. But what I didn't realize, what none of us realized, is that while I was busy living my life, she was busy studying it. She was taking notes. She was waiting for her moment to step into my shoes. And I handed her the shoes on a silver platter. To understand how this happened, you have to understand the dynamic. I was the star. I'm not trying to sound arrogant. It's just how it was. I was the one who got the lead in the play, the one who got the football captain's attention, the one whose Instagram photos hit 5,000 likes. Brianna was the shadow. She was pretty, stunning actually, but she was shy, or so I thought. She let me take the spotlight. She encouraged me. She was my hype girl. You need to post that. You look fire, she'd say. You should go talk to him. He's totally checking you out. I thought she was being supportive. Now I know she was curating me. I was her doll. Senior year started and everything felt intense. My parents were pressuring me about the NYU deposit. My relationship with my boyfriend Jason was getting weird. We were in that classic situationship phase where we were basically married but wouldn't put a label on it because he was afraid of commitment. Classic high school BS, right? But Brianna was there. Every time Jason ghosted me for a day, she was there with ice cream and a burner phone to prank call him. If he doesn't see your value, he's blind, she'd tell me. You're a queen. He doesn't deserve you. I cried on her shoulder so many times. I told her everything. My passwords, my pins, my deepest insecurities. I trusted her with my life. The first red flag happened about 3 weeks ago. It was small. I was at my locker and this random girl, a sophomore, walked up to me. She looked terrified. Hey, she whispered. I just wanted to say, I'm really sorry about what happened with your dad. I hope the lawsuit goes okay. I just stared at her. What? My dad is fine. What lawsuit? She froze. Oh, Brianna told me that your dad was being sued for fraud and that's why you were working double shifts at the cafe. She said you were really stressed. My blood ran cold. My dad is a lawyer. He is the most by-the-book person on the planet. He has never been sued a day in his life. Later that day, I confronted Bri. Why are you telling people my dad is in trouble? She looked me dead in the eye with these wide, innocent Bambi eyes. Oh my God, no. You must have misheard her. I told her my uncle is in trouble. Maybe she got confused? You know how rumors spread? I wanted to believe her. I did. I told myself Bri would never lie to me. She's the only person who knows the real me. Then things with Jason got worse. We were supposed to go to this winter formal, my last big high school dance. We had matching outfits planned, obviously. 2 days before the dance, he texted me. I can't go. Something came up. I was devastated. I cried for hours. Brianna came over, held me, and told me he was a piece of trash. Don't worry, she said, smoothing my hair back. We'll go together. Just us girls. We'll look hotter than any couple there. So we went. Me and my best friend. I wore this silver dress that I saved up for months to buy. I felt like a princess. We got to the venue, and the music was loud. Everyone was staring. I thought it was because I looked good. Brianna went to get us punch. She was gone for a long time, like 20 minutes. I was standing by the wall, feeling awkward without my security blanket. I was about to text her when I saw a crowd forming near the DJ booth, and then I saw her. I saw Brianna, but she didn't look like Brianna. She was wearing my dress, the exact same silver dress I had on. But that wasn't the crazy part. Her hair, she had cut her hair. She had styled it exactly like mine. She was wearing my perfume. I could smell it from across the room, and she was holding hands with Jason. They were walking through the crowd like they were Beyonce and Jay-Z. People were cheering, whistling. Finally, someone yelled. I just stood there. My brain couldn't process it. Why was Jason with her? Why was she wearing my dress? I started walking toward them. I thought maybe it was a prank. Maybe Jason was surprising me. I tapped Brianna on the shoulder. She turned around, and when she saw me, she didn't look guilty. She didn't look scared. She looked annoyed. Can I help you? She asked. I laughed. It was a nervous, weird laugh. Bri, what are you doing? Why are you holding Jason's hand? That's not funny. She looked me up and down, sneering at my dress, the dress she was wearing too. First of all, she said, loud enough for the people around us to hear, my name is Brianna. Second, this is my boyfriend. We've been talking for months. And third, did you buy that dress at the thrift store? It looks a little tight on you. I have the same one, but mine fits better. The silence in that room was deafening. Jason looked at me with this blank expression, like I was a stranger. Babe, who is this? Jason asked her. He looked concerned. Is she the one you were telling me about? The obsessed girl who keeps copying you? My knees almost gave out. I didn't know what to do. I started screaming. I was yelling, that's my boyfriend. We've been talking for 6 months. She's my best friend. But people were laughing. They were pulling out their phones. They were filming me. I looked around for my friends, our mutual friends, but they were just staring at me with pity or disgust. One of them, Sarah, stepped forward and grabbed my arm. Hey, she said softly, you need to leave. You're making a scene. Brianna told us us you were having a mental breakdown again. We wanted to help, but this is too much. Mental breakdown? I choked out. I've never had a mental breakdown. She looked at me with these sad eyes. Honey, Brianna showed us the texts. You've been texting Jason pretending to be her for months. She's been trying to let you down gently. She held up her phone. It showed a text thread. The contact name was My Heart, Jason. The texts were vile. I'm going to kill myself if you don't love me. I'm going to burn your house down. I'm wearing her skin. The messages were signed with my name. I stared at the screen. I knew I didn't send them, but nobody else knew that. Brianna had my old phone. I gave it to her when I upgraded last month because she broke hers. She had been setting me up for months. She was rewriting my story while I was living it. I ran. I didn't wait for security. I didn't wait for my parents. I just ran. I'm currently hiding because I can't go home. I called my dad to tell him what happened, to tell him that Brianna is insane, that she stole Jason, that she's telling everyone I'm crazy. Do you know what he said? He said, "We know, honey. Brianna told us. She said you've been struggling with your identity ever since you got rejected from NYU. We're on our way to pick you up to take you to the facility." I got into NYU. I have the acceptance letter in my email. She didn't just tell people I was rejected. She told my parents I got rejected, and she probably deleted the email or changed the password. I have nothing. My parents think I'm mentally ill. My school thinks I'm a stalker. My boyfriend thinks I'm a stranger. And the girl I called my sister, she's at home, probably wearing my pajamas, sleeping in my bed. I have to get proof. I have to expose her before she has me committed. I couldn't stay in that bathroom. My phone buzzed again, vibrating against the cold tile. Another text from Dad. "We are outside. Please don't make a scene, honey. The doctors are waiting to help you." The doctors. He actually called them. He had mobilized an entire intervention because Brianna spun a web of lies so tight, so convincing that my own father thought I was a danger to myself. I opened the bathroom door slowly. I peeked through the crack in the hallway. I could see the front of the Dunkin Donuts through the glass doors. My dad's sedan was idling at the curb. The hazard lights were blinking. Orange, orange, orange. It looked like a heartbeat. And then I saw the back door open. My mom got out, but she wasn't alone. Brianna was with her. My stomach dropped into my shoes. Brianna was wearing my mom's coat, my favorite wool pea coat that my mom gave me last Christmas. She had her arm wrapped around my mom's shoulders, comforting her. She was playing the role of the supportive, grieving best friend perfectly. She looked like the daughter. She looked like the sane one. If I walked out there, they would grab me. They would take me to whatever facility Brianna had convinced them I needed. And once I was behind locked doors, Brianna would have full access to my room, my computer, my life. She would completely become me. I turned and ran out the back exit. I burst into the alleyway, the freezing December air hitting my lungs like a knife. I didn't stop running until I reached the 24-hour library 2 blocks away. I slipped inside through a side door, hid in the back stacks between the biography section and the bathrooms, and slid down to the floor. I was shaking so hard I could barely hold my phone. I had 1% battery left. I needed to think. Brianna had my old phone. She had my passwords, but she didn't have my memory. I remembered that back when we were 14, we set up a shared digital diary on an old cloud server. We used it to gossip about boys. It was linked to an email account I hadn't used in years. One Brianna definitely didn't know about because she had only been in my life since kindergarten. Wait, no, she knew everything. I took a gamble. I logged into the dusty old cloud account. My heart was pounding in my throat. If she had changed this password too, I was done. Access granted. I let out a sob of relief. I navigated to the shared files. It was mostly ancient history, blurry selfies from 2015, notes about which teachers we hated. But then I saw a file modified today. It was a folder labeled The Plan. My hands were sweating. I opened the first document. It was a checklist. Phase 1, isolate, complete. Remove Jason, remove friends. Phase 2, discredit, in progress. Convince parents of mental instability. Delete acceptance letter. Phase 3, replace, pending. Senior prom, NYU dorm deposit, graduation. She was treating my life like a project, like a corporate takeover. But then I saw a subfolder inside The Plan. It was labeled Media. I clicked on the most recent video file. It was uploaded 10 minutes ago from the device labeled iPhone 8, my old phone. I pressed play. The audio was tinny, recorded in a quiet room. I heard Brianna's voice, but it wasn't her normal voice. She was speaking in my cadence. She was using my slang. She was pitching her voice up just slightly to sound like me. "Hi," the recording started. This is a confession. I know everyone is worried about me. The truth is, I haven't been okay for a long time. I've been pretending to be someone I'm not. I've been jealous of Brianna for years. She's everything I want to be. So I stole her identity. I made those fake accounts. I sent those texts to myself. I just wanted to be her. I paused the video. Bile rose in my throat. She was recording a confession from me. She was going to release this. She was probably going to send it to the school principal, the admissions board at NYU, the police. She was going to frame me as the obsessed stalker who tried to steal her life. She was flipping the script perfectly. If anyone found this video, it would be game over. It would prove I was the crazy one. I kept listening. The only way to fix this, the voice that sounded horrifyingly like mine, continued, is for me to disappear for a while. I'm going away to get help. I hope one day you can all forgive me. She was going to force me out. She was going to use this video to explain my sudden disappearance when they hauled me off to the mental hospital. Oh, she checked herself in. She posted a video confession. I felt trapped. I had the evidence. I had the plan folder. I had the video of her practicing my voice. But who could I show it to? My parents were brainwashed. The school believed her. The police would see a crazy girl trying to frame her sweet best friend. Then I remembered something. The night Brianna copied my key. Back in October, we made a game of switching lives for a day. I gave her the spare key to my house so she could get my clothes for school in the morning. I never asked for it back. She had a key to my house. But I still had a key to her basement. We used to sneak down there to smoke stolen cigarettes when we were 15. She lived alone with her grandma, who was deaf as a post. If Brianna was at my house with my parents, her house was empty. If I could get to Brianna's house, maybe I could find her journal, the physical one, the one she wrote in before she went digital. If I could find proof that she's been plotting this for years, something tangible I could shove in my dad's face. I looked at my phone. 1%. I had to move. I crept out of the library. The streets were empty. It started to rain, a cold, sleeting mix. I walked the 3 miles to Brianna's neighborhood, keeping to the shadows. I felt like a ghost haunting my own life. I got to her house. All the lights were off. I circled to the back. My hands were numb as I fumbled with the key under the flower pot. It was still there. I unlocked the basement door. It creaked open, the smell of mold and old fabric softener hitting me. I slipped inside and locked the door behind me. I didn't dare turn on the lights. I used the flashlight on my phone, keeping it dimmed. I knew exactly where she kept her diary, under the loose floorboard beneath her bed frame. I crawled across the floor, pulled up the board, and grabbed the pink leather book. I sat there in the dark, shaking, and opened it to the most recent entry. The date was yesterday. It's finally happening, I read. She's almost gone. I feel bad about the dad thing. He's actually nice, but he'll get over it. He has me now. I'm going to be a better daughter than she ever was. I just have to handle the NYU thing. If I can just get that login one more time, I can accept the offer and she'll never know. She'll be in the hospital by the time the semester starts. I slammed the book shut. Tears were streaming down my face, hot and fast. She didn't just want my boyfriend. She wanted my dad. She wanted my degree. And then I heard it. The floorboards creaked upstairs in the kitchen. Footsteps. Heavy. Deliberate. I froze. Was her grandma home? No, she was in a care facility for the week. I heard the basement door handle jiggle. Locked. Then a voice from the other side of the door. A voice that made my blood turn to ice. I know you're down there, the voice whispered. It was Jason. And Brianna, he added. She says to come out quietly. She says if you don't, she's gonna call the cops and tell them you broke in to steal her medication. I was trapped in the basement of the girl who stole my life with the boy who used to love me, waiting to hand me over to the authorities. I clutched the pink diary to my chest. This was it, the end of the line. Or maybe, just maybe, it was time to stop running. I stared at the brass handle on the basement door, waiting for it to turn. It didn't. Jason was still on the other side, probably debating whether to kick it in or call the police like Brianna told him to. I had seconds. I took a deep breath, pressed my back against the cold concrete wall and shouted, Jason, if you come through that door, you're going to jail. Silence. Then a muffled, skeptical laugh. What? You're the one breaking and entering. My name. You're the one who's unstable. I have the diary. I yelled back. I have her journal. I know about the plan. I know she's using you too. Another pause. Longer this time. You're lying. She told me you'd say that. She said you'd try to turn me against her because you're obsessed. Open the door, Jason, I said, my voice shaking but loud. Read one page. Just one. If you still think I'm crazy after that, I'll walk out the front door and turn myself in. But you have to look. I heard a heavy sigh. The handle jiggled. The lock clicked. The door creaked open a few inches. Jason's face appeared in the gap, illuminated by the faint light from the hallway upstairs. He looked tired, annoyed, and conflicted. He looked down at me, huddled on the floor, clutching a pink book to my chest like a shield. Show me, he demanded, holding out his hand. I didn't give him the book. Not yet. I needed him to hear it. I opened to a page I had flagged earlier, the one that made my blood run cold. Read it, I whispered. Read the entry from November 14th. Jason sighed, rolling his eyes, but he leaned in and squinted at the page in the dim light. He started reading aloud. November 14th. Jason is officially mine. It was actually pathetically easy. I just had to mirror her personality exactly. He thinks he loves my name, but he's actually just in love with the reflection I'm showing him. Once we get to NYU, I'll phase him out. He's good for high school status, but he's not husband material. He's too gullible. Jason stopped. His face went pale. The color drained from his cheeks so fast I thought he might pass out. He looked at the book. Then he looked at me. Is this real? She wrote that 2 days after we started dating, I said, tears streaming down my face. She's not doing this because she loves you, Jason. She's doing it because she hates me. She's replacing me. You're just a prop in her movie. He stumbled back like I'd physically pushed him. He looked like he was going to be sick. She told me she loved me. She told me she was the only one who understood me. She's a sociopath, I said, scrambling to my feet. And she's at my house right now, convincing my parents to commit me. If you let her win, she's going to do the exact same thing to you. She's going to chew you up and spit you out. Just then, we heard footsteps creaking on the floorboards directly above us. Jason? Brianna's voice floated down the stairs. Sweet, innocent, deadly. Baby, who are you talking to? Jason looked at the stairs, then back at me. I saw the moment the switch flipped. He realized he had been played. He realized that the girl he thought was his ride or die was actually the villain of the story. He stepped fully into the basement and closed the door quietly, locking it again. You have to go, he whispered, his eyes wide. She's coming down. I can't go out the front, I hissed. She'll see me. The window, he said, pointing to the small, grimy window near the ceiling. feeling. It leads to the side alley. Go. What are you going to tell her? Jason swallowed hard. He looked at the diary one last time, his jaw clenching. I'm going to buy you time. I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell her you were never here, that I was checking the pipes or something. Jason, just go, he whispered urgently. Fix this. Expose her. I didn't wait. I dragged a crate over to the window, climbed up, and shoved the pane open. It was stuck, rusty from years of disuse, but I used every ounce of adrenaline I had left to force it up. I squeezed through the gap, tearing my favorite silver dress on the jagged metal, and tumbled into the wet, muddy alleyway. The freezing rain soaked me instantly, but I didn't care. I was free. I ran. I didn't stop running until I reached my own street. It was 3:30 a.m. The neighborhood was silent except for the distant hum of the highway. I crept through the backyards, avoiding the streetlights, until I reached my own house. The lights were on downstairs. I could see the glow from the living room windows. I crept up to the bushes beneath the window and peered inside. There they were, my mom and dad, sitting on the couch, looking devastated. And across from them, on the armchair that I usually sat in, was Brianna. She was wearing my sweatpants, my UGG boots. She was holding a mug of tea. She looked so comfortable it made my skin crawl. I just feel so guilty, Brianna was saying, her voice thick with fake sympathy. I should have noticed the signs sooner. The way she would obsess over my clothes, my hair. I think she wanted to be me. My dad put his head in his hands. We should have gotten her help sooner. I can't believe she's out there in this weather alone. She's resourceful, Brianna said, sipping her tea. She'll come back when she's ready to apologize. But until then, we should cancel the NYU deposit. It's not fair to make her go if she's not stable. My mom nodded slowly. You're right, Brianna. You're so wise. We're lucky to have you. You're like the daughter we always, well, you know. That was it. That was the line she crossed. I didn't sneak around to the front door. I didn't ring the bell politely. I walked right up to the living room window, grabbed a handful of mud from the flower bed, and smeared it all over the glass. They all looked up, startled. I saw Brianna's face go from sympathy to sheer terror in a split second. She recognized me. She saw the diary in my hand. She knew. I kicked the front door open. It was unlocked, obviously. She had made herself at home, after all. I marched into the living room, dripping wet, covered in mud, holding the pink leather book like a weapon. Get out, I said. My voice didn't sound like my own. It sounded low, dangerous, steady. My name? My dad stood up, his face a mix of relief and anger. Where have you been? And look at you. You're proving our point. Sit down, Dad, I interrupted. He gaped at me. Excuse me? I said sit down. And you? I pointed a shaking finger at Brianna. She was frozen, clutching her mug. Get out of my house and take off my boots. Brianna tried to recover. She put on her best acting face. Oh my God, you guys, she's having an episode. Call the doctor. She's going to hurt herself. I said, shut up, I screamed. I slammed the diary onto the coffee table right in front of my mom. Read it, I demanded. Read page 84. Read where she talks about how stupid you are, Mom. Read where she calls Dad a controlling narcissist that she needs to manipulate. Read about how she faked the texts from Jason. Read about how she stole my NYU login. My mom looked down at the book, then at Brianna. Brianna? What is she talking about? Brianna stood up, her hands trembling. She planted that. She's trying to frame me because she's jealous. You know she's been obsessed with me for years. Open it, Mom, I yelled. Open the book. My mom picked it up. She flipped to the page. Her eyes scanned the text. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. I watched my mom's face. I saw her eyes widen. I saw her hand go to her mouth. I saw her glance at Brianna, then back at the book, then at me. She looked at my dad. Honey, this handwriting, this is Brianna's handwriting. My dad grabbed the book. He started reading. And as he read, I saw something break inside him. The anger he had toward me, it evaporated. It was replaced by a cold, hard realization. He looked up at Brianna, disgust written all over his face. You, he whispered. You did this? Brianna started backing away toward the door. No, listen, I can explain. Get out, my dad said. It wasn't a suggestion this time. It was a command. Get out of my house and never come back. If you ever contact my daughter again, I will bury you. You can't prove anything, Brianna shrieked, the mask slipping completely. She's crazy. She's the crazy one. The IP addresses, I said softly. Brianna froze. What? The plan folder on the cloud, I said, pulling out my phone. I backed it up to your email account, Brianna. The one linked to your phone. It shows the upload times. It shows the device ID. It shows that you sent the fake texts. I just forwarded the entire folder to the police. Brianna's face went white as a sheet. You're lying. Check your phone, I said. Check your email. She fumbled for her phone. She unlocked it. She stared at the screen. She dropped the phone. It shattered on the floor. You little bitch, she hissed. You ruined everything. She lunged at me, but my dad stepped in front of me. He grabbed her by the arm and marched her to the front door. He didn't care that she was screaming or that she was kicking or that she was claiming she was pregnant with Jason's baby. Another lie? He threw her out onto the porch, still wearing my UGG boots. And leave the boots, he shouted. He slammed the door. Silence. He turned around. He looked at me, really looked at me. For the first time in weeks, he saw me. I am so sorry, he whispered, his voice cracking. I am so sorry, baby. I collapsed into his arms, and for the first time all night, I felt safe. But as we stood there, hugging in the middle of the living room, my phone buzzed on the floor where Brianna had dropped hers. It wasn't a text. It was a notification from the local news app. Breaking news. 18-year-old girl arrested for identity theft and cyber stalking after digital evidence leak. She had been arrested. It was over. Or so I thought, because the next day when I woke up, I saw the headline had changed. Brianna Brianna, last name missing, suspect escaped custody. And then my phone pinged, a new email from an unknown address. Subject, the game isn't over. I stared at the screen. She was out there, and she was coming for me. The text message sat on my screen like a ticking bomb. The game isn't over. I called the police immediately. They swarmed the house again, dusting for prints, asking me the same questions over and over. Do you know where she might be? Did she mention a safe house? Has she ever threatened violence? They treated her like a runaway teenager. I knew she was something else. She was a predator. For the next 2 days, I didn't sleep. Every time a branch tapped against the window, I froze. My dad slept on the floor of my bedroom with a baseball bat. My mom was a wreck, calling the station every hour. But I realized something about Brianna. She wasn't hiding. She was a narcissist. Narcissists don't just fade into the background. They need an audience. She needed to win in front of people. I checked my social media. The narrative had shifted. Because of Jason coming forward and confirming the diary, the school was on my side. The posts had turned. Team My Name was trending locally. Brianna's socials were deleted. She wasn't going to run away. She was going to try to pull the rug out from under me one last time. She was going to try to make me look like the liar again. So I decided to give her exactly what she wanted. I waited until 8 p.m. the next night. I set up a ring light in my living room. I sat on the couch, looking directly into my phone camera. I hit go live on Instagram. The viewers started pouring in immediately. 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. The comments were a blur of support and concern. Hey everyone, I said, my voice steady. I know you've all seen the news. Brianna is missing. The police are looking for her. I paused, taking a deep breath. I'm leaving tonight. My parents think it's too dangerous for me to stay here. I'm driving to my aunt's in Canada. I'll be gone for a long time. I just wanted to say goodbye and tell you that I forgive her. I just want this to end. I ended the stream after 5 minutes. I turned to my dad, who was standing in the hallway terrified. She's watching, I whispered. If she thinks I'm leaving the state, she has to come now. It's her last chance to stop me. My dad gripped the bat. It's too dangerous. Dad, I said, she has to walk through the front door to get to me. The police are 2 blocks away. You and Jason are in the kitchen. We end this tonight. Jason. He was here too. He had been camping out on our porch since the incident at the basement. He wanted to make it right. He wanted to be the shield I never had. We waited. An hour passed. The house was silent. I started to think I was wrong. Maybe she did run. And then I heard the sliding glass door in the backyard click. It was barely a sound. If I hadn't been listening for it, I would have missed it. I tensed up. I was sitting on the couch in the dark, the only light coming from the street lamps outside. I saw a shadow move across the living room rug. It was her. She was dressed entirely in black. She had a ski mask on. In her hand, she held a hammer. She crept toward me, thinking I was asleep, thinking I was vulnerable. Checkmate, bitch, she whispered. She raised the hammer. Now! I screamed. The lights in the kitchen flipped on instantly. Jason came barreling out of the hallway, tackled her around the waist before she could bring the hammer down. They crashed into the coffee table, sending glass shattering everywhere. Get off me, she screamed, her voice muffled by the mask. Jason was wrestling the hammer away from her. She clawed at his face, screaming like a banshee. You were supposed to be mine! You were supposed to love me! She was completely unhinged. My dad was there in a second, pulling Jason off her and pinning Brianna face down onto the floor. He zip-tied her hands behind her back, something he learned from a YouTube video 10 minutes ago. Through the struggle, the ski mask came off. She looked manic. Her hair was greasy, her eyes wide and bloodshot. She looked nothing like the polished girl who stole my life. She looked at me, writhing on the floor. I did this for you, she spat. You were wasting it. You were wasting your life being a boring, pathetic loser. I gave you drama. I gave you a story. I stood up slowly. I looked down at her, and for the first time, I didn't feel fear. I felt pity. You didn't give me anything, Brianna, I said softly. You stole from me because you have nothing of your own. The police burst through the front door seconds later. They hauled her up, reading her rights. She was screaming threats, screaming about the diary, screaming about Jason, but it didn't matter. It was over. The aftermath was a blur of court dates and restraining orders. Because we had the live stream bait plan documented with the police beforehand, and because Jason and my dad witnessed the break-in attempt with a deadly weapon, she wasn't going to a mental health facility. She was going to juvenile detention until she was 21, and then prison for attempted assault and stalking. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from NYU. My mom had gone down to the admissions office in person with the police report, the diary, and the character reference from my principal. They reinstated my acceptance. They even offered me a spot in the honors program. Prom was back on. Jason asked me to go again, properly this time. He showed up with flowers, my favorite kind, and apologized for 2 hours straight. I told him no. It wasn't because I didn't forgive him. I did. He was a victim too, but I realized I didn't want a situationship guy who could be so easily manipulated. I wanted to be on my own. I needed to learn how to be a whole person without a shadow behind me. I went to prom with my girls, the real ones, the ones who reached out to me when I was in the bathroom. We danced, we laughed, and I didn't look over my shoulder once. I'm sitting in my dorm room now, typing this out. It's September. The air is getting crisp, just like it was when this all started. I look different now. I cut my hair short. I wear bright colors. I don't try to be the aesthetic, perfect girl anymore. That girl was too easy to mimic. I'm messy. I'm loud. I'm happy. Brianna is sitting in a cell 3 hours away, writing letters I will never read. She thinks she ruined my life. She was wrong. She didn't steal my life. She forced me to grow into it. Thank you for listening to my story. And to anyone out there who feels like someone someone is slowly erasing them, take the power back, scream it from the rooftops, and keep your passwords safe.